I'm Tim Stevens, editor-in-chief of CNET's Roadshow, and it's actually been a pretty good LA auto show. The auto shows in general are kind of declining at the moment, but there's been a lot of great unveils, including right behind me, the Ford Mach-E. Now, this did get unveiled a little bit before the show, but this is really making its global debut here. I think it looks great. I know there's a lot of controversy about the name, about the styling, even about the grabber blue color there, but I think it looks really great. The numbers all sound fantastic. I'm really eager to drive the thing, and I hope that it is as good as its potential should be. Another big unveiling here is actually the Toyota RAV4 Prime, the first plug-in hybrid. Certainly maybe not the most exciting car, but it's got over 300 horsepower, making it Toyota's second fastest car in production, second only to the Supra. That's pretty interesting that it's a crossover SUV. I'm eager to see that in production. I think that'll do really well for them. But of course, I think the thing that a lot of people are waiting for is actually not here at the show at all. That would be the Tesla Cybertruck. That's going to be debuting on Thursday night after the show concludes for the media, before the show opens for the public. Huge excitement around what Tesla's first pickup is going to look like. I'm pretty eager to see what that looks like myself. But overall, really good show. A lot of great electrified cars here, both concepts and more importantly, production cars, and a lot of good stuff. So I think a really good LA in 2019 overall.
I'm Stephanie Brinley with IHS Markit, and I'm here with Bob Gritzinger from Ward's Intelligence. Ooh, and we're going to talk about the LA show because we've been running around here all morning and all week, actually. Yeah. So I'm going to start off and say one of the things that we get asked about a lot is what are the trends at the show this year? And I think there's two things that carried through more than anything else, and it's electrification and utility vehicles. The other thing that I would say is those have been the major trends of the shows for the last 4 years.
Not just this show.
Not just this show, any show on the planet. That's been the dominant theme for the last few years. And it's because those two markets, utility markets, sales are still really strong, and electric vehicles are still growing. It's still a tiny, tiny part of the world.
Very small percentage electrification, but it is the growing market, and it is where the product development money is going right now. You're not investing in new internal combustion engines. You're going to electrified, hybrid, fuel cells, anything involving electric is huge.
Talking about why that is a whole other show, so we're going to go and move on. So what was the real important car today?
Oh, geez, sucked all the air out of most of LA.
It did.
The
Mustang
Mach-E. The Mustang Mach-E. There you go. Yeah.
So, in all seriousness, it's an electric utility vehicle. Ford has used the Mustang name on it, which has caused quite a bit of controversy. My take is using the Mustang name on it helps the guys in development and women in the development process have a North Star and sort of gate to themselves what they needed the car to be. And I think within Ford, it got people more excited about it. And I think it helped them get a little bit more resources because some of the people that work on the traditional Mustang work on this car as well.
Right, and it caused them to get really cranked up about that this wasn't just a car that would meet
the basics
that would be a compliance car.
Right.
I mean, they tore up the whole thing halfway through and then rebuilt it as a Mustang. And that it feels like it made all the difference in terms of performance, what they put into it, what it looks like, and then I think it helps on the sales side. They've expanded the Mustang brand globally,
right?
So they have a brand that they can sell it under around the world, and who doesn't know the Mustang brand,
right?
It's,
and it's different from what prior Mustangs were, but I think we're also in a space where we can allow brands to grow. And
well, the Mustang fanboys are going to hate it to the end of the earth.
Some of them are upset.
But the electrification people, I think, are going to think it's fine. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and you've got some people who are coming into the market with no baggage at all, but know that the Mustang name exists, and they're just going to accept it for what it is, and like it or not like it, but they're not going to necessarily be worried about it being called Mustang.
They might say, hey, a Mustang that's a utility vehicle. I can finally buy a Mustang. They don't really care whether it's an EV.
There's a brand that might have went from sports cars to utility vehicles.
Yeah,
it might have been a little successvel.
Yeah, a couple of them.
Might have been. Yeah. I think it can work. At the end of the day, I think there's the ability to expand that brand, and I think they've developed and executed it pretty well.
Yeah, and they did with that whole reveal. suck the air totally out of the room. I mean, including for sister brand Lincoln,
Right.
which showed another electrified vehicle. I wrote it up as the other electrified vehicle that
From the
Ford
company,
showed,
yes.
which just happened to the Lincoln Corsair Grand Touring plug-in hybrid EV. Just happens to bring their first ever e-axle to market.
Right. It does.
And, normally that would be a big story.
Right. But
This time
it's a little bit. And, and
it's
that
a
is,
trim level.
It's a trim, and that's true. And it's interesting. And also what sort of made that one not be as quite vibrant is it's after the Aviator Grand Touring, which has
True.
still got everybody's
Right.
attention.
Yeah.
But the Corsair plug-in hybrid will be a nice addition to their lineup. Interestingly, the power on that car is in between the base car and the 2.3.
top end.
Yeah. So whereas on the Aviator, the Grand Touring is almost 100 horsepower more than the other version of the car. So it's going to be interesting to me to see where they position it when it comes to pricing.
Yeah, well, they've said in between 50 grand.
Yeah, then that's
High end is 60, low end is 40. There you go.
There we go.
So what about this
car?
bright
We're
orange
standing
thing out
behind this
behind
bright
us
one.
here? You haven't told us about that. I know not. It's a Sentra.
It's a Nissan Sentra.
That's a Sentra.
That's a Sentra.
That's
It's an
a
all-new Sentra. And whereas this is kind of important, we talked about utilities and electrification, but I'll tell you what, there are still people who want to buy sedans, and Nissan's happy to sell them to them.
Exactly.
This car
Yeah.
is actually really a nice addition, a nice changeover for them. I started to say addition, but it's not new to the brand,
No,
right?
no.
They've pointed out that the Sentra actually, over its lifetime in the United States, is the best-selling car that Nissan has ever had.
Oh, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
But
It's not the top seller now,
The
but-
interesting thing, I think, is that when it comes to these small and mid-size sedans, they're starting to take some chances so that they, with the styling, they don't have to be exactly the same. They can push it a little bit, and I think Hyundai paved that
The
trail.
Sonata did it very well.
Yep.
This is doing it actually quite well, a little bit smaller than the Hyundai Sonata was, but
The
and we
new
are seeing
Altima
that.
is a
The new
push.
Altima does it. The Acura Type S concept over there is doing that a little bit too, and
Right.
and that's the thing too that Nissan has. While they're continuing to support their sedan lineup, they've added a bunch of utilities. So if you want a utility, you've got it. That does give them the ability to be more expressive and exciting with their sedans.
Right, and there you have it.
And there you have it.
Very nice. Blacked out roof. I like
Yeah,
that. Yeah. We're at the LA Auto Show. What else can we
could
say?
keep going, but
it's
I
getting
think-
cold out.
Yeah, it's
in
raining.
LA.
It's raining.
They're freaked out.
We
The
got it.
mudslides are coming. Flee. Head back to Michigan where it's cold. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Doron Levin from Seeking Alpha. We're at the Los Angeles Auto Show 2019. We're at the BMW exhibit, and we are looking at a concept motorcycle from BMW, an R18. And to explain what this is, we have Roy Oliemuller, who is corporate communications from Motorrad. Motorrad is the BMW motorcycle division. Roy, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here. And tell us a little bit about this concept.
Well, it's my pleasure. And the concept one, that's this model. You saw the concept 2 during the show also, is a pre-production unit that will be hitting production at the second half of 2020. And it's the reason why you have such great sound out of this. It's a complete new engine, but based on the Boxer motor. The Boxer motor is originated in 1923, so they went back to the heritage with this, and 1800cc twin. And because of the size of the engine and the design acoustics from the combustion chamber and exhaust, this is why you hear such a great sound out of this bike.
Yeah, it is a great sound. I have to say, I was an owner of an R70 in the 1970s, and it was so quiet, you didn't even know it was on. But
Well-
you've actually deliberately made this noisy. Why are you doing that?
Well, it's because it's the market segment that the bike applies to. Obviously, the cruiser market, there's a desire to have that louder exhaust, a visceral feeling when you're riding the bike. So they've designed the bike with a specific exhaust tone.
You even put a seat on it that is deliberately less comfortable than the regular ones. Now, why is that?
Well, again, remember this is a concept bike. It's not the production unit
Okay.
at the time. But it will have a obviously lower seat height. based on the current market and segment. That's a necessity with having a cruiser-style ride. And you'll see, again, as I mentioned, the production unit will be available later in the year and will look somewhat similar.
Okay, so one last question. How is the BMW motorcycle business in the United States? Tell us a little bit about that, a word or two.
Well, we're the only manufacturer right now and premium branded manufacturer that is selling in the positive numbers for the year to date. So our sales are up, and we continue to pursue sales increases, and next year we'll be bringing in about 4 new models, the R18 being one of them. And we have several other smaller motorcycles coming in the early part of the year, and with that we expect again another sales increase for 2020.
Thanks so much for doing this interview.
You're welcome.
This interview, we were with Roy Oliemuller of BMW, and we are at the Los Angeles Auto Show on Autoline.
I'm Mark Vaughn with Autoweek magazine, and here with us today, our special guest, Kimatni Rawlins from Automotive Rhythms. Kimatni, how you doing?
I'm good, Mark. Thanks for, well, first of all, it's nice running into you, you know what I'm saying? We've always had like natural energy together, so around cars, lifestyle, food, fitness, football, the whole shebang.
I've been in his shadow, really. I mean, he outshines me everywhere, on the football field, on TV, on the camera, everything.
But
so
you got the mic, so.
That's true, I got the mic.
Yeah.
How do you explain that? I don't
Right.
know. But anyway, so how long have you been here at the LA show? Is this your first day walking the floor?
Yeah, I got in town yesterday, went to a few events last night. Was highly impressed with Audi and the E-tron Sportback. The new Sentra was pretty sharp, and but I rested up mostly. I did 2 events, and this is my first time on the floor today.
What have you seen so far?
First of all, I like the LA Auto Show. It's probably one of my favorite shows because of the lifestyle feel, the energy, the exuberance showcase. But I had a chance to check out a few things. One of which was one of the big cars, the Ford Mustang Mach-E, which is a very interesting dynamic.
It is a controversial vehicle, isn't it? I mean, you're very polite, interesting dynamic. I think we can all say, what were they thinking? It's a great car. It's like a Tesla competitor, right? I mean, I thought Tesla Model X because I just looked at it and I thought it was the size of a Tesla Model X. Other people are saying it's more like a Model Y just because of the price. But why did they throw the Mustang tag on that thing?
I don't know, man. They just came out with the Shelby GT500, and I think they're just flowing over that Mustang performance. But at some point, you got to cut it off because it does not fall in the category of high performance. I mean, electric vehicles and electric torque.
Well, 0 to 60 in 3 point something.
They are quick vehicles, but it's not Mustang heritage.
Right.
So if they just simply renamed it something else,
the Futura,
there would be no controversy.
They have a bunch of names. They have the Futura, the Galaxy. I mean, they could have pulled any one of those names out of that thing, and they pulled out Mustang. And everybody. We have a lot of commenters on the web,
Right.
Because web commenters, they're actually ruling the world right now. But none of them thought the idea of a Mustang name made any sense at all.
Yeah. So I hope they recover. I'm sure they will. But yeah, like I said, it's a very interesting dynamic. And then I had a chance to check out the new Defender. Ironically, I was in Jamaica.
Kind of boxy?
It is.
Yeah. You were in Jamaica. You're always going to Jamaica.
So I was in Jamaica this weekend, and I came across an original Defender. And, just nostalgically looking at how rugged and tough it was. Perfect for that terrain in Jamaica. And I was like, I'm looking forward to seeing the new one at the LA Auto Show. And I walked up on it, and I don't know, it really didn't do anything for me. The 5-door is more impressive than the 3-door.
Looks like a Nissan Cube.
The 3-door looks like a Cube. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it looks like a kid built a car and didn't even use Play-Doh, because Play-Doh you can form into a shape, but the kid didn't have the Play-Doh. The kid just had like cardboard boxes and made a car.
Damn.
I mean, well, I don't know, man. That's what I saw.
Take that off, honey, right now.
No, I don't get away with that. I don't get away with that at all.
And then the price point, I think 50,000 to 80,000. I mean, I would just regularly get an HSE.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
I'm sure it can do a lot of amazing things off-road, but unfortunately, we all know that people off-road less than 5%, and for that price point, I just don't think it's worth it. And I had one commenter, a radio host who has a Wrangler, and she was like, let me know how that Defender is and if I need to switch over. I gave her the price. She was like, I am not switching over.
I'm not switching over. And the fact that if you look at those J.D. Power numbers, Land Rover is not at this end of it, okay? It's
right.
So you have potentially historically significant data that suggests it's going to be in this shop, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, like most Land Rovers always are. So.
And Jags. Come on, English car industry, get your act together. It's been over 100 years.
I mean, I love the designs of the other Land Rover SUVs. I love the silhouettes of Jags.
And those originals, like you said, the one you saw in Jamaica, those are beautiful cars. I mean, they're crude, simple, but very effective and a lot of fun to drive.
And the thing is, connoisseurs of that brand should not be looking for that in the new Defender. I mean, you're not going to have it both ways in this case because two different opposite ends of the spectrum.
You also said you looked at the Audi e-tron Sportback. What do you think of that?
I like the e-revolution in the industry. I'm hoping that the battery technology and the recyclability of it is getting better to be more earth-friendly. Of course, they say that it is, but we know the stories of where cobalt is mined and some of the dangers of.
Oh, that's the Republicans claiming a bunch of stuff. Cobalt is mined by happy little elves that flitter down and they lift the cobalt up and place it gingerly into the automobiles.
Right. But I am impressed with the Sportback because of the performance aspects, and they're going after the younger generation. So, that's the moniker that we're going to be looking for. Something tough, rugged, fast, and is very beautiful at the same time. And I think the education of EVs is getting better in terms of
people are realizing
range
that
anxiety.
Yeah, all those things they thought were going to happen didn't happen.
Exactly.
They work.
Right.
And you're not left at the side of the road. You don't see EVs littering the freeways. It's they work. You drive home, you plug it in, it fills up.
Exactly.
Have you driven an e-tron? I haven't been in one yet. Have you been in one?
I have not driven it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has. It might not even be available. It might be a sham.
Or we may just not be that important.
That could be. That's probably more likely.
I'm going to talk
Maybe
to
me.
Mark Donkey
Maybe me.
about that one.
Did you see the thing about the headlights that Audi came out? We're sitting here in the Audi booth. They came out with some kind of laser super duper headlights, and they did a demo last night. Did you hear about that one?
No, because when I got to the event, I actually got there after the presentation.
Oh, okay.
Just in time to eat all the food and drinks.
That's all. I mean, we're journalists. That's what we're supposed to do. I only read Ben Stewart's thing about it, and it was really interesting to me because every time we go to Europe, maybe you've noticed this, Audi, Mercedes, BMW, all these German guys, they show these fantastic headlights, These are used by dilithium crystals, and they power the sun and all this stuff. Oh, but you can't get it in the United States. Why can't you get it? Because it's like, it's our antiquated system of approving new technology. Our federal government won't let us have this stuff, and it works. It works better, and it works better in Europe, but not here. So we're driving around with like 6-volt halogen beams that are going.
And they're bending corners, seeing over hills.
Yeah, they're doing everything, but our government won't allow us. Football. We're back to football. What position? You were a running back, halfback.
I was a running back.
Running back at Georgia Tech. Perhaps you've seen him.
Hell of an engineer.
Hell of an engineer. Ladies and gentlemen, from the LA Auto Show, Mark Vaughn and my good friend, Kimatni Rawlins.
One love, baby.